2 years of getting elected, you were co-sponsoring legislation to create a path to citizenship. In your words, amnesty. Haven't you already proven that you cannot be trusted on this issue?
No, because if you look at the quote, and it's very specific, and it says blanket amnesty. I do not support blanket amnesty. I do not support amnesty.
You said more than that, sir.
No, I said I do not support blanket legalization.
You said earned path to citizenship is basically code for amnesty. You supported earned path to citizenship.
It absolutely has been. And at the time, in the context of that, was in 2009 and 2010, where the last effort for legalization was an effort done in the Senate. It was an effort led by several people that provided almost an instant path with very little obstacles moving forward. What I've always said is this issue does need to be solved. They've been talking about this issue for 30 years, and nothing ever happens. And I'm going to tell you exactly how we're going to deal with it when I am president. Number one, we're going to keep ISIS out of America. If we don't know who you are or why you're coming, you will not get into the United States. Number two, we are going to enforce our immigration laws. I am the son and the grandson of immigrants, and I know that securing our borders is not anti-immigrant, and we will do it. We will hire 20,000 new border agents instead of 20,000 new IRS agents. We will finish the 700 miles of fencing and walls our nation needs. We'll have mandatory E-Verify, a mandatory entry-exit tracking system. And until all of that is in place and all of that is working and we can prove to the people of this country that illegal immigration is under control, nothing else is going to happen. We are not going to round up and deport 12 million people, but we're not going to go around handing out citizenship cards either. There will be a process. We will see what the American people are willing to support, but it will not be unconstitutional executive orders like the ones Barack Obama has forced on.
Governor Bush, do you agree that Senator Rubio has not reversed himself on his immigration promise?
Well, I'm kind of confused because he was the sponsor of the Gang of Eight bill that did require a bunch of thresholds, but it ultimately allowed for citizenship over an extended period of time. I mean, that's a fact. And he asked me to support that. And I supported him because I think people, when you're elected, you need to do things. And he led the charge to finally fix this immigration problem that has existed now for, as Marco says, for 30 years. And then he cut and run because it wasn't popular amongst conservatives, I guess. Here's what I believe. And I wrote a book about this called Immigration Wars. You can get it at $2.99 on Amazon. It's not a bestseller, I can promise you. There won't be any, you can get it. It's affordable for everybody. We should have a path to legal status for the 12 million people that are here illegally. It means come out from the shadows, pay a fine, earn legal status by working, by paying taxes, learning English, not committing crimes, and earn legal status where you're not cutting in front of the line for people that are patiently waiting outside. That is I think that's the conservative consensus, pragmatic approach to how to solve this problem.
Go ahead, Senator.
Respond. It's interesting that Jeb mentions the book. That is the book where you changed your position on immigration. Because you used to support a path to citizenship.
So did you.
Well, but you changed in the book.
So did you, Marco.
You wrote a book where you changed your position from, you wrote a book where you changed your position from a path to citizenship to a path to legalization. And the bottom line is this. We are not going to be able to do anything on this issue until we first bring illegal immigration under control. The American people have been told for 30 years they're going to enforce the border, they're going to build the wall, and it never gets built, and it never happens. It is very clear there will be no progress on this issue in any way, shape, or form until you prove to the people of this country that illegal immigration is under control. And when I'm president, we are going to bring it under control once and for all after 30 years of talking about it.
Marco, he brought up my name. I have supported a consensus approach to solving this problem wherever it came up. And then 2007, it almost passed when my brother was president of the United States. A bipartisan approach got close. Barack Obama actually had the poison pill to stop it then. And when you led the charge with the Gang of Eight, I supported it because you asked me to. I think it's important for people in elected office to try to forge consensus to solve problems. There's never going to be a perfect bill.
All right.
But when you didn't do that and you asked people to support, you shouldn't cut and run.
But Megyn,
you should stick with it. And that's exactly what happened. He cut and run, and that's a tragedy because now it's harder and harder to actually solve this problem.
There's not going to be any consensus on this issue until we enforce our immigration laws. That is abundantly clear. No, you are not going to be able to ram down the throat of the American people your approach. The only way we're going to be able to move forward after 2 migratory crises with minors, after 2 unconstitutional executive orders, the only way forward on this issue is to first bring illegal immigration under control. And until that happens, there's not going to be any consensus on this issue.
Let's move on. Senator Cruz.